Hello, Mario. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for taking this call with me. This is Mario, guys. Mario, can you talk about yourself a little bit?
Sure. I'm Mario Armani. I'm a real estate agent here in Toronto. On top of being a realtor for the last 19 years, I've opened up over the course of the last 4 years Armani Realty and just trying to do some real estate.
Cool, cool, cool. So, can you tell us about a little bit of your how did you start it? How did you start going into real estate? What happened during these 19 years? A little bit about your story.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So I got into real estate very, very long time ago when it was popular on HGTV to make these flip homes, right? So I kind of thought to myself, well, I want to get into this aspect. I've always loved construction. So it would make perfect sense for me to get my real estate license so I'd be able to buy and sell my own properties and obviously have that little bit of an advantage because being a real estate agent, you are able to see a few things that, let's say, the general public can't see. So I did that and found out very quickly that flipping homes was a lot harder than it seemed on I was going to say social media, but they didn't have social media 19 years ago. It was a lot harder than I saw on TV. So long story short, lost a lot of money, got into basically that aspect of the business. And once I got out of it, certain people knew that I had my real estate license. So they started asking me, hey, listen, we're looking for a property. We're looking to sell our property. Is there anything that we need to do? And it turned out that they ended up using me as their realtor.
Cool. Actually, I'm curious because those those TV programs you talk about, I remember like 10 years ago, they was also popular, and I was watching them a lot. Like that's the only reason I become a civil engineer because I think this might be a career to go around it because if I'll be a civil engineer, I can go ahead and build those houses and I'll be have like more information about the houses and all that type of stuff. So a
Of
question:
course.
you talk about your first flip and went horribly. I understand if you don't want to talk about it, but can you explain that situation a little bit? Like how did you start flipping? What happened in the flip, and why did it fail?
It wasn't that it went horribly. It's just that I lost money, and it was just because there are a lot of unforeseen expenses that you don't really take into account. The other problem that I had was I'm not one of those people that, okay, I'm doing this to make money. So like if I opened something up and I saw that there was a problem, I would fix it, and I would fix it the proper way. I wouldn't just cover it up. And that was the problem because by fixing it, it took away my profit.
Yeah, okay.
So unfortunately, sometimes when you're honest, it ends up hurting your pocket. But at the end of the day, I rather not do something that I know is not correct and basically sell something to somebody when I know it's bad and there's a problem and they're going to have an issue. Like I don't want to do that to a family, right?
Of course, of course. So you think flips is not for you? Did you ever do another flip after that, or is that a first and last?
Yeah, so I did three in total, and this was obviously we're going back 20 years ago now, a little bit less, like 17, 18 years ago. But I don't find them to be very profitable anymore. What I do find profitable is building. The problem with building now, in terms of being able to make money, you have to do it at a very big scale and you need a big budget, right? So you're not going to be able to build a home with $500,000. You need to purchase a lot in a good area that, you know what I mean? It's probably going to cost you anywhere between $1.3 million to $1.7 million at a minimum. And basically spend another $1.3 million, $4 million, $5 to build a home, and then basically turn around and hopefully try to make anywhere between $300,000 to $700,000 in profit. Now, to do a big project like that and invest that kind of money to make that money, it's also a lot of people would consider it not even being worth it. So it's something that you kind of have to build. I have many friends that actually are professional builders. This is what they do for a living. And they always have 2, 3 projects going on at one time, right?
Yeah.
So it's the only way to kind of balance it where you can make it profitable.
Okay. So after the flip, you said you started to sell houses. You get to know a couple people that ask you to sell and buy with them. I'm curious because you're 19 year in real estate. Your lead generation process I'm pretty sure is dialed in. But I'm curious at that time, how did you figure out your market? Were you finding those leads to work with you?
So it was basically word of mouth. It was word of mouth, knocking on a lot of doors, literally knocking on doors because I did door knocking. Also, I never did cold calling. So that's something that I never really did. Maybe it was something that I guess was something that was done a little bit more before my time. When I was kind of getting into it, not cold calling was very, very frowned upon by many people. And then you would call them, they'd hang up on you. And before, it was a little bit more common actually to cold call because the majority of people had home phones, right? And
Yeah.
there were records on getting people's phone numbers. Now it's a little bit different because obviously there are like everybody has a cell phone and not too many people have a home phone, right?
Hmm. No, I agree with that. So you talk about this calls, door knocking, maybe mailers and all that. So I'm trying to switch it to 2023. Back at that time, you was door knocking. So what are you doing right now? Because I know you have a team with you and you have yourself. How do you find those leads right now?
So door knocking is still a very important tool. If there are any realtors that are watching this and they think that door knocking doesn't work, door knocking 100% works. One of the things that we like to do is after a property, let's say we have a specific listing in an area, we'll go ahead and we'll door knock that area. So we'll door knock the area before the property goes on the market, letting the neighbors know that our property is coming up for sale. And the reason why we want to do that is because there's a lot of people that, let's say, they want to move their family into the neighborhood. They also want to go ahead and, let's say, buy a property for their kids, or they may just want to buy an investment property close to them. So we do notify them. That's the number one reason. The second reason is because there might be people that are potentially looking to sell. So now we put the property on their radar. We have an excuse to actually connect with them and meet with them. And then obviously at that point, after the property is sold, we would door knock the area again, letting them know that the property sold. So once again, trying to pick up sellers at that point, right?
Mhm.
So this is something. It's a very important step that I honestly, I like 99% of realtors don't do. I understand why, because door knocking, realistically, it sucks. It takes a lot of time. You have your cold days, your hot days. You know what I mean? There's a lot of effort involved, but it is something that's very, very profitable. And listen, another reason why agents don't do it is because when they kind of start doing a little bit better, they kind of want to stop doing these tasks that kind of got them to where they are to begin with, right? So that's something that I feel has separated me over the course of years, because even though I'm at a position where I don't have to do many things, I still do them because I know these are the things that are going to make me successful.
That's good that you don't stop what is working, which is it's important in every aspect of the business. If you are doing something good and if it's working for you, don't stop it. So another question, I know you're using social media, and actually that's how we met. You creating videos, you doing advertising, all that. Can you tell about like a little bit of social media part of maybe lead generation, and what does social media do for you? Did you get more leads from there organically, or can you tell about that process a little bit?
So I've been doing paid social media advertising for many, many years, and obviously organic social media for even more years. Organic social media is very important because this is where you make a connection with somebody. So one of the things that I feel anybody in sales should be doing is try to connect with as many people on social media as possible, because this is a way that you can indirectly sell yourself. So it's very different that if I just, let's say, walk up to you and say, hi, how are you? I'm a real estate agent. I want to help you. And you know what I mean? It's like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be sold, right?
Yeah.
But with social media, you can kind of be like, hey, how are you? Nice to meet you, this and that. You don't even have to talk about what it is that you do. You kind of focus on making a great connection with the person, and then you go ahead and connect with them on social media. And they'll eventually be able to see what you do for a living. And then if they need you, they're going to reach out to you. So I always feel that the approach should always be hands off. And that's what's always worked for me. And that's what I've been doing on the organic side. On the paid side, I've been working with many people that do online lead generation. I've actually spent a lot of money training my assistant to understand how to lead generate on social media, just so she can kind of track what the marketing companies that we work with, what they're doing. So she actually understands, and we're not just kind of trusting what they're doing. But yeah, it's something that's very, very difficult. I think that paid social media marketing is evolving on a daily basis. And unfortunately, it'll work for a specific period of time. And then if the company that you're working with is not keeping up to date with trends and all that, it's eventually going to stop working, and you're going to have a problem, because you're going to be spending money, but you're not going to be generating traffic.
That I agree with that. And social media, it's very important to be up to date because it changes so fast, and every day there is a new stuff. So you need to be up to date to that. So I want to change the topic a little bit. I want to talk about the Toronto real estate market as a local expert. What do you think about the market right now? Are we in? Can we say we are in buyers or sellers market?
I think we're actually going back into a seller's market. Over the course of the last few months, it's been crazy. Bidding wars are back with a vengeance, and we're seeing multiple offers on many properties again now. It's definitely a better time to sell a property. There's a lot of sellers that were waiting to put their property on the market, and despite what a lot of people think, buyers are here. There's a lot of buyers that waited, and now they're home shopping because they need to find a place to live. So yeah, it's definitely a seller's market.
Okay, so another question: what do you see in Toronto real estate market in last next couple of years? Do you think are we heading in a recession, or how do you foresee the future?
I foresee interest rates coming back down. I foresee that happening by the end of the year, 100%. I don't think it's going to be like, okay, interest rates are 5% and now they're going to be 3. I think they're going to slowly start to bring it down in increments. But it's very scary. It's very scary because it shows you how resilient the real estate market really is in Toronto, because interest rates are crazy high and people are still buying. So I don't see this slowing down anytime soon. I really, really don't. We still have a supply issue. That's the bottom line. We still have an issue with supply. And until that can get corrected, which I don't think there's any way that's going to happen, just because they're continuing to build, let's say, condos. But families can't live in condos unless they're going to start building, let's say, big 3-bedroom condos and make them at a price that's affordable. It's not going to happen. But whenever you have, let's say, 1-bedrooms selling for 600,000-700,000, how much realistically is a 3-bedroom? Like I have a client right now, he's been looking for a 2-bedroom in Vaughan, but not necessarily a small 2-bedroom, a decent sized 2-bedroom. And he's looking all the way up to 850,000 and he can't find anything.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's not going to get any more affordable, right?
what I think is, as long as Toronto real estate market has the same problems right now and in future, it's not gonna change anything. The supply issue needs to be fixed. The interest rate need to go up a lot to some big drop to happen. So I think best time to buy is right now, I guess. Like because there is a saying that the best time to buy was 15 years ago. If you couldn't buy 15
Yes.
years ago, right now is the best time. Do you agree
Yes.
with that statement?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The thing with real estate is that a lot of younger investors basically like always had this thought process, and it's not their fault. It's because of what happened in the market where they were trained to understand that real estate goes up every single year by these double digit returns. And if we buy something today for 800,000 in a year, it's going to be worth a million. That's what people believed because it happened. But if you kind of look at, like, let's say a chart from 12, 13 years ago, real estate has made the biggest movement in the last 30 years in the last 12 years. So this is kind of like, I don't want to say it's a fad, but real estate for Canada and Canadians has turned out to be a very good investment. So you have so many people investing into it, not to mention that people want a place to live. We live in a place where owning a home is important to a lot of people, and this is something that people want to do.
I agree with that. And even like immigrants like me, we know how important is Canadian real estate because we always see it in the eyes of somebody looking from outside. And it's really important to have a house, and if you can, two or three. So, another question I'm asking for myself and people like me, like young people in mid 20s, they want to look for their first house, trying to buy their first home. What advice would you give it to them right now?
Advice number one, make sure to protect your credit because you can have the biggest down payment, but if you have bad credit, you're not getting approved for a mortgage. And if you do get approved, they're going to kill you with interest rates and fees. So, number one, protect your credit. Number two, make sure that you save for a down payment just because things are getting more expensive. And if you continue spending money stupidly, you're never going to have enough. So I think that what people have to do is decide what they want to do. So unfortunately, unless you make a lot of money per year, it's going to be very hard to save a lot of money in order to buy a home. So you're going to have to go 2, 3, 4 years without potentially taking a vacation, without potentially doing doing specific things in order to, you know what I mean, get that house. And that's what a lot of people, you know what I mean, don't understand. They don't want to make that sacrifice. They want to go to the dinners every weekend. They want to, you know what I mean? Like if you really want to buy a house, it has to be a commitment. Again, if you make a lot of money per year and you can save a lot of money in order to be able to buy something in the next year or two, then you're okay. But the majority of people, even if they make a good income, it's still not enough to be able to save as much as they need to in order to purchase a home. So again, you
Mhm.
really need to sacrifice.
So it's really Canadian market, especially Toronto market. I believe it's really hard to get into, and sometimes I'm struggling too. Like I'm thinking, should I buy now? Should I wait a little bit more, or should I make like bigger down payment? Other than this, would you say anything to people who is not sure about, like, they are some type of ready, but they're not sure about buying right now because they're scared of interest rates because they was able to get like 1-2% interest rates 2 years ago. Now it's like 5-6%. And
This
what
is
would you
a
say to
very, very
those?
good question. This is a great question because it's something that comes up in my job a lot. People need to understand 2 years ago or a year ago, let's say a year ago, prices were here, interest rates were here. Now, prices went not all the way down, but they went down, interest rates are up. So, what people don't understand is that these interest rates going up, it's only temporary, but prices are down. So, if you kind of like put numbers on a spreadsheet and you say, what is more in my benefit? Should I go ahead and buy when the interest rates are lower? Well, absolutely not, because at the end of the day, you have a smaller mortgage. If you bought a property today versus a year ago, you're paying a higher interest, but your mortgage is 20% less, 15% less. So you know that these interest rates, how long are they legitimately gonna last for? Maybe another 6 months, another 7 months, and then slowly they're gonna start to come down. But then when they come down, your monthly payment will also come down as well. But again, you have the smaller mortgage. So what would you rather do? Would you rather have, let's say, a $700,000 mortgage or a $500,000 mortgage, and you're paying you're paying the same amount of money monthly? I'd rather go ahead and pay the same amount of money monthly, but have my mortgage $200,000 less, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes completely sense. And if you, when you buy it in a little bit higher interest rate and lower price, I believe even though you buy fixed rate mortgage, you can still refinance in couple years when the more interest rates are down, and you still have like a little bit equity on top. So you can still find a way to get a lower mortgage even though you buy in a higher mortgage market.
Yes, I
So
agree with that.
another question will be, I was checking my questions. So another question says, I know, so you have a team. Can you tell us about that? Because you're also a broker. You have an in-house team working with you. How many people you working with? And can you tell about how you build your brokerage at first start?
So I originally opened up a team with another brokerage that I was with before, but I built it very incorrectly. And and to make a long story short, I decided to basically shut down the team when I moved brokerages. So when I moved brokerages, I started completely on my own. So I opened up my own brokerage, didn't hire anybody. It was just me in the brokerage. Shortly after, about 6 months after, my next steps was to go ahead and hire an admin. So that's exactly what I did. So I hired a full-time assistant slash admin slash marketing person. And that was the first step. And about 7, 8 months later, I hired my first realtor, who is still with me today. And then as of recently, about 4 months ago, I hired my second realtor. So my brokerage is a little bit different. I don't necessarily just hire anybody. I'm hiring people that are going to be part of the team and people that are looking to expand and build with me. So it's a little bit of a different approach as opposed to, let's say, hiring anybody who wants to work with me and just they figure it out on their own, right?
Okay, so you started your brokerage exactly when?
4 years ago.
Okay. So what did you learn in those 4 years you couldn't learn as a real estate agent?
Uh, Unfortunately, that everything that we do is based on experience. So the things that I learned, there's no way that I could have learned I couldn't have learned them without going through them myself. So there's so many just little things. It's not necessarily big things. It's how to deal with people, how to talk to people, how to talk to your staff, how to talk to your realtors, how to get them to do the things that they need to do. But I have to say that the biggest challenge has basically been getting the people that work with you to do the things that they need to. And that's a big thing because you're saying to them, listen, if you want to succeed, this is what you have to do. And then they don't do those things. And you're kind of thinking to yourself, well, this makes no sense. Why would you not want to be successful? Why would you not do these things? Right? Like it just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. So another question. I know real estate, being a real estate agent, have no income limit, which is most of the people chooses a be a real estate agent because of that. But also there's a limit of what you do. You have to do every day same thing. What you get you to 100K will get you to $1 million a year too. But I'm curious, you become a broker, then also a real estate agent. I know you're still doing like real estate agent stuff, but like, what would you say to real estate agents in future who want to be like you, own a brokerage and be more in a passive way as a real estate agent? What would you say to them?
Uh, it's not a question that I can really answer, to be honest with you, because I think everybody is gonna kind of make their own journey and decide what they want to do. I don't think a lot of people are going to open up a brokerage because they don't need to. I originally opened up a brokerage because I wanted to incorporate my business, and I didn't want to open up a sub brokerage, which is something that you could do now. That you don't have to do now, because before you were not allowed to incorporate as a real estate agent. You had to open up a sub brokerage. Now, as an independent realtor, you are able to go ahead and incorporate. So technically speaking, you don't need to make a brokerage right now.
Okay. But for those people who really want to get really big on real estate, I know you have like 19 years of experience. So to come there, do you have like one mindset shift might be to get you there? Because being consistent in a sales job, this is literally almost a sales job, a real estate agent. Being consistent for 19 years is really hard to do, and I see most of the people cannot able to make it, and most of the agents cannot even make the over 5 years barrier. So what would you say to those people who is not sure about being real estate agent, or they just started but not sure how they're gonna go after 5 years? And what would you say to them to keep them in the game and like give them a good advice on mindset?
Yeah, you just need to be consistent, and that's the trick. A lot of realtors over the last 5 years have been very lucky because they've had a lot of success and very quickly. And I don't want to use the word spoiled, but a lot of them are spoiled. I think even a lot of veteran realtors like myself, even we got spoiled because things were easy. And like I said, people stopped doing those things that they needed to do in order to be successful. And now kind of the gravy train has stopped, and it's gotten to be more difficult with a lot of people. So it's one of those things where you just need to be consistent. If you're consistent, you're going to be able to make it happen. And that's all it is. Just you have to show up every day. I know that we can make up our own schedule. I know that we can take days off whenever you want. But real estate is a cyclical business. So whatever you are doing today is what's going to get you paid in 6 months to a year. And that's the way that it is.
I agree with that 100%. All right, Myro, this is all about my questions, and it's been a nice run. It was really nice to talking to you, and I believe the listeners will love that too because you drop real value out there. If you have anything else to say, here you go.
Listen, I appreciate the opportunity. I always try to motivate people and try to share with them what I feel is going to work in their best interest. So yeah, listen, I'm very excited to see what the rest of 2023 has in store, and look forward to chatting again soon.
All right, thank you for being here, Mario, and everyone, thank you for watching us, and have a good one.